Hello and welcome back to It's Character Building. My name is Tom and this is Andrew and we are your nerd theorists. In this series we're going through all the classes in D&D 5e and kind of generating what we would kind of like to play. I mean, I'm very much a role player and Andrew's very much a power gamer. So we come up with some very different but yet still incredibly interesting things. And this week we are doing Rangers. So, Andrew, if you'd like to kick us off with what your ranger is this week.
Certainly. So, as per our previous episodes, I think what we'll start with is Wraith. Now, we were talking... Who were we on last time? Monks.
Yeah, that's right.
And you went for Harengen.
I did, yes.
I have also gone for Harengen.
Brilliant.
For my ranger. So there were some really cool things that they have as part of their race.
Mm-hmm.
The size choice, I've gone for a medium.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice tall one.
Yeah, nice tall rabbit, and I sort of envisage, like, I don't know, not like ears pointed up, you know, like the ones with the ears drooped back, sort of.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is, though, I think, I mean, I'm sorry to take it away from your character, with all my characters, if they were ever Harengen, that is like, I'd be like, I'm a hare, I'm not a rabbit, I'm a hare. But no, it'd be entirely how you'd want to play it, but sorry, continue.
So it's cool, and I think the main thing, as well as like you get the proficiency and the perception skill and the lucky footwork, which seems really cool with it. When you fail a dexterity saving throw, you can use a reaction roll D4, add it to the save, and maybe turn it into
It's always
success.
really good, yeah.
Yeah, there was the rabbit hop as well. So as a bonus action, you can jump a number of feet equal to 5 times your proficiency bonus without provoking opportunity attacks. So that
which gets silly in like later levels.
Yeah,
it just gets a lot.
15 feet to begin with straight away off the bat. So yeah, only gets better as you level up. But the main reason I picked it was the hair trigger for you can add your proficiency bonus to your initiative rolls.
Ah, cool.
And that sort of leads me into the class choice I made quite nicely, because I went for the Ranger archetype of Gloomstalker.
Okay, it's not one I really know very well, so you'd have to go through it.
So one of the really cool things that Gloomstalker has is, what's it called? A Dread Ambusher. The Dread Ambusher is when you get to 3rd level in your Ranger, you pick your subclass. And Dread Ambusher gives you a bonus to your initiative rolls equal to your wisdom modifier.
Okay, another initiative bonus.
Yeah. So you couple that with your Harengen proficiency initiative boost. You then got your dex boost, obviously, like everybody gets. And then you've got wisdom modifier on there as well. So I think by the time when everything's all said and done, you're looking at a plus 10 to your initiative with
wow, that's pretty impressive.
These first 8 levels. So also with the class choice, I've picked the proficiencies of stealth, insight, and survival. I think they're quite useful out of the choices that we get. Obviously,
they are pretty standard ranger selections, really.
Yeah. And you get perception as part of the Harengen
cool. Yeah.
Ability. So yeah, not didn't have to select that, and perception's one that I tend to favour because it's quite an important skill in most campaigns.
Yeah.
From what I've played in anyway and seen. Favoured enemy, there were some choices here, and sort of favoured enemy and natural explorer. I don't know about you, but I think before, obviously you could have it thematic and built into your backstory about which enemies you favoured. But I think it'd probably be a good idea for this one, you'd speak to the DM and sort of think, where's this campaign going? Am I going to select an enemy here that's just not going to appear?
Yeah, this is it. I mean, it's like with your terrain as well. It's like if you're going to pick like forests, but you're going to spend the entire campaign in a desert, and like, what's the point?
Yeah, on the Underdark.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think with those, I like in here. I picked humanoids, and you could pick goblins and humans, and so you'd if you were in a campaign, generally there are going to be some humans. So
Generally
if you didn't
speaking,
know,
humanoids are very common. Yeah.
But yeah, I think for those, you're best off speaking to the DM. Which for me, that's you, Tom. So there you
go. Yeah, that's it.
Fighting style, I went with archery because I think I'll be going at a distance with this class.
Fair enough.
And one of the other things the Gloomstalker does is another part of the Dread Ambusher.
Mm-hmm.
So with all that boost to your initiative, it's got another thing which is at the start of your first turn of each combat, your walking speed increases by 10 feet. You get to move a bit further, and also if you take the attack action on that turn, you can make one additional weapon attack as part of the action. So if you get 2 attacks as part of your action, that becomes free, and then if the attack hits, you do an extra 1d8 of damage of the weapon damage type. So
sweet.
Yeah, it gives you an extra attack, so it gives you like a really good out of the gate first turn where you're doing a bunch of attack and damage. You also get a dark vision out to a range of 60 feet. This is from a thing called Umbral Sight.
Okay.
And you are also adept at evading creatures that rely on dark vision. So while you are in darkness, you are invisible to any creature that relies on dark vision to see you in that darkness. So that could be useful.
That's pretty amazing because many times people are just like, it's dark. It's okay, I've got dark vision. I can see everything. I'm like, no, you can't. You really can't.
Not me. Not this guy. So 4th level, we've got the ability score improvement. And I went for the feat Resilient, which it's a half feat. And I don't think we've discussed it before, but Resilient is a really cool half feat, and you can use it to pick any proficiency in a saving throw, and you also get a +1 to the ability score of the chosen ability. So I went with Wisdom for this because I needed to
boost
the
spell casting modifiers, isn't it?
Yeah. And sort of further down the line, you get at level 7, you get a ability called Iron's Mind, which normally that gives you a proficiency in wisdom saving throws, but if you already have that proficiency, you gain a proficiency in saving throws for intelligence or charisma saving throws. So essentially what I've managed to do with this class by level 8 is get proficiency in 4 of the 6 saving throws. So other than
pretty amazing.
Intelligence and Constitution, I've got proficiency in all the other saving throws. So it makes them fairly good at resisting spells and other effects.
Yeah, I mean,
that's nice.
That is pretty amazing. I mean, it's for things like it's not very often that you're gonna have need to like use your strength saving throw, for example. So it's like for all like your ranged spell or traps, even that you're gonna need to be able to be proficient to be able to get out of it, or at least help you get out of without taking too much damage. That's covered just about everything.
Yeah, exactly, and makes it feel a little more sort of tanky in a way, just because you've got all them resistances. So then we've got the 8th level ability score, and I went with another half feat, and this one I went with Piercer, because Piercer, obviously firing arrows that you're doing a lot of piercing damage, and I went with Dex for my half ability score with that, but Piercer gives you once per turn when you hit a creature with an attack that deals piercing damage, you can re-roll one of your attack's damage dice. But you have to use
the damage dice, not the hit dice.
Yeah,
it's the damage.
Not the hit dice, damage dice. Yeah, so you can say if you roll a 1, you can increase that.
Generally, if you rolled in under statistically half, I'd re-roll it.
Yeah, for sure. And then also, if you score a critical hit that deals piercing damage, you get to roll 1 additional damage dice when determining the extra piercing damage. So again, very useful.
That is very, very good.
Yeah, it was one that I'd not seen before, actually. I think you've got, as well as Piercer, I think there's Piercer, Crusher, and I think Slasher might be the one. But all 3 are half feats, and they do similar sort of stuff with
just different damage types.
Yeah, different damage types, which is quite nice. Lets you diversify.
It's pretty good. Like, yeah, especially if you're, let's say, for a lot of the martial ones. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's nice. So spells, I went with Cure Wound, always nice to have,
Always.
and lesser restoration that you just useful in the party.
course.
Hunter's Mark, which I think is sort of Ranger 101, bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
When you firing at range, anyway.
Yeah,
And then Pass Without a Trace, which again, that's always a good one to have
That's
in the
always
party
good for
somewhere.
especially for a ranger. Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine a lot of this you'd be sort of sneaking around, maybe scouting ahead. That
Doing
sort of
rangery
thing.
things.
Yeah, ranger doing
things.
ranger things. And
Yeah.
then I went with Silence as well, because I thought Silence can be quite useful
Yeah, definitely.
in certain situations. And say if you got ahead and snuck ahead, you'd be able to put down that
It's like, I am
silence area.
silent.
Yeah.
You are then silent but deadly.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, I think that leads us on to the ability scores.
Cool.
So, Strength 8.
Yep.
That's what dumps that.
It's a natural one for a ranger.
Yeah.
I still found it a little bit tricky though.
Yeah. Even if I was just about to say, even if you were going, because I've gone like a ranged weapon. I think even if you were going sort of martial, like
more melee
hand to
martial.
hand, more melee martial. I still think you'd be more inclined to go dex based
And go
and
finesse
have like
weapon.
finesse weapon, because your dex is obviously getting your AC. I don't think you get your heavy armor proficiency. So yeah. Intelligence 10. Obviously, to me, you tend to either go intelligence or wisdom as sort of your main mental stat.
Your core
And obviously,
stats,
because wisdom's the spellcaster for the ranger. Then that was one that got higher. Charisma got a 12. Oh, nice to have a little sort of boost to your personality skills. Constitution, annoyingly, I put 13, and I had no way to boost it, so it's still sat one under the modifier. Wisdom, I put the 14 with the half feet, and my one score from my +2 and +1 of my Harengen origin. That bumped up to 16, so +3 to the modifier in total, and then the 15 went in Dex, which by the point where we're at level 8, the 2 from the Harengen and the 1 from the half rate puts me up to 18, so +4 modifier. So yeah, good healthy.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good spread.
And a healthy.
It's another one of those classes I find that you just want to have a little bit in everywhere.
Yeah.
Just for lots of different reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, if you'd rolled real well, it'd be a nice class, because there's loads of like the wisdom and the dex, and obviously you need constitution as well.
But with us using the standard array, yes, you really got to deal with what you get. I suppose it's the same when you roll in. You just got to deal with what you get handled.
That standard array that I've gone there, that gives you a good indicator as to where you'd put your highest, second highest, and third highest.
Where
if you roll
you would put it.
Where I would, yes, where I personally would.
Yes.
And then for background, went for an urban bounty hunter.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. Just seemed cool, having like a
Why not?
bunny that was hopping around the roofs of a city as it was chasing down its targets, that they couldn't see it because it's in the dark. And that gave me a deception and a persuasion proficiency, and tool proficiencies that I put bagpipes and lair. And also, one of its features is called ear to the ground, and Harengen, big ears,
big ears,
ears to the ground,
big ears to a big bit of ground.
It seemed apt.
Yeah, it did.
It seemed
that's
apt.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, so there he is.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, I really like that. A lot of it, pretty standard choices for a ranger. As soon as you think ranger, you think ranged weapon. It's just it's natural stereotype.
In the name.
Yeah, range.
In the name of the class.
Yeah, but I mean, it was nice. I mean, especially those massive initiative boosts and the extra damage you get from it as well. So yeah, I think that's a really nice combo.
And I think
it's. Sorry, go on.
If I was if I was playing it, I think I'd be looking into doing maybe some multi-classing and possibly taking some levels in rogue.
That's fair enough.
maybe assassin to really help.
When we've been
Make
building
use of
these,
that,
when we've been building these, I have every now and again going, oh, that'd be a nice multi-class sliding in there. But we're not doing multi-classes yet. As soon as we've run out of the base classes, we are then going to slide into as multi-classes. So keep around for those as well. And like and subscribe so you can keep up to date with all of that coming up.
But yeah, let's hear what you've put together, Tom.
Right. Well, if you would excuse my turning to face one side, I've got a new setup, so I am having to turn to face my screen to read what I've done on it. So, for race, which is where we always start, I've actually chose Changeling, which is another interesting choice. It's another Fey creature, which very much like my warlock from a couple of episodes ago. But with this, you get the a size choice again, but I've gone for medium this time. I know my last two characters were small.
The trend.
I have. I can't have them all small, but and you get Changeling Instincts. I've chosen a couple of proficiencies in there, which are Deception and Persuasion.
Very Changeling-esque.
Very Changeling-esque choices there, but you also get the Shape Changer, as you'd imagine, ability. So as an action, you can change your appearance and voice and determine specifics and changes, including coloration, hair length, gender, or sex, whichever. And you can adjust height and weight and change your size between medium and small. So you can't make yourself big, but you can change your size between medium and small, which is pretty cool.
That's really cool.
It is really cool. I mean, sorry, go on.
As an action as well. For some reason, I'd not looked into changelings much, but I always thought it'd take more than just an action to change, which it's. Yeah,
like more of a ritual casting type thing. Yeah, maybe like 10 minutes or something.
10 minutes, something like that. But yeah, that's really.
But
that's
just
really
as
cool.
an action, because if you then hide. Oh no, yeah, because like I say, if you did then multi-class and take a rogue and then hide as an action, and then you can change your form and come out as somebody else.
I was thinking like maybe if you're running away from the guards or something,
you can then just become somebody else in the crowd. Yeah, absolutely. But this does not affect your clothing.
Of course,
it only affects your physical form. It does stipulate that in the ability as well. So, but there are magical items, even magical armor and magical clothing you can pick up, which can completely change at will anyway.
All the changing cloaks and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are those types of things. Again, always speak to your DM. But I thought that was a really interesting one, especially with being a ranger, because the way I think I would probably try and play it, even though there's no kind of rules as written effect around it, but kind of using the changing of your coloration of your skin to then use it as like camouflage. I mean, I know that there's no rule built into it to say yes, okay, it can affect your stealth roll or anything like that. But
I think I would certainly give you like either maybe a plus 2 to yourself, or like maybe give you advantage on.
If it was me, I might give you a little bit of a bonus if it was one of your preferred terrains.
Cool.
So it's not just everywhere, but then because if your DM did agree to that, then I'd probably roleplay it in the sense of if I'm in an urban setting or a setting that I'm not entirely used to, I'm trying to camouflage. I'm constantly trying to change the way I'm appearing to try and camouflage into it, and failing, and just trying my best and not quite getting it right. And it'll be quite a fun one to kind of roleplay as well.
You'd maybe have to get like a performance check or something like that.
So maybe.
You may be able to.
Again, entirely down to the DM.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then on to the class itself. So first level proficiencies: stealth, naturally, perception, and survival. The three classic ranger choices. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Favoured enemy. Now, in the kind of the way that the background that I was imagining was very much in the way of, because it's a fey creature, a changeling. So it's like if I suddenly got sucked out of the fey realm somehow, and I've just no idea of how that's happened, and then suddenly I'm, let's say, in the mountains, and there's giants around, and it's like, how have these giants suddenly sucked me out of my home realm? I'm just now in the realm of the mortals. And then it just spends ages trying to survive in the mountain. That's just an example, in the mountain range. Yeah. And so I've chose my favoured enemy as giants, just as to go with that kind of storyline. And and obviously you do get to pick a second one later on, but again, just talk to your DM about the setting and maybe what's happened throughout the campaign to that point. But then, so then you're kind of like, okay, so then you're in your natural explorer, your favoured terrain being mountains, but then it's like, well, you spend that long around these giants, you suddenly realise they're too stupid to be able to do this. So it's like, it's clearly not them. And I kind of like the idea of just giving the DM a good backstory that has a nice bit of a blank canvas to it somewhere within it, so they can then build it into their story arcs and build some kind of lush story arcs. I like that, because then if you have a very rigid backstory, it leads very little to be able to play with and have a lot of storyline too. So I like doing that. But again, always talk to your DM. So fighting style. Now I went with Druidic Warrior. So that allows you to then pick 2 Druidic cantrips. And I chose Shillelagh. Pretty much, so when I can shape change and then just go, you wouldn't take a walking stick off an old man. Shillelagh. No, it's just because I can. And then Primal Savagery, which I wasn't too familiar with that cantrip, and I can't say I've heard of it. Exactly, it's an action to cast, and you then make a melee spell attack against a creature within 5 feet, and on a hit it takes 1d10 acid damage by either claws or fangs. Because they grow either claws or fangs of your choice, and be able to deal damage, and that then increases by level. So at 5th level it increases to do 2d10 at 11th, up to 3d10 at 17th to 4d10. So it levels up quite nicely. So I mean, as a cantrip, it's pretty awesome. Yeah. Yeah, so it's nice. As well. Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit different, and it's a nice. It kind of leans into the shape-shifting kind of thematics about it as well. So then the ranger archetype, I picked Fay Wanderer, being a fey creature and a wanderer from the Fey Wilds. So it kind of all lent into that thematically quite nicely. But as part of that, as soon as you select it at 3rd level, you get dreadful strikes. So you can augment your weapon strikes to have 1d4 psychic damage once per turn.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is pretty amazing. And once you hit level 11, it increases to 1d6. So that's pretty cool. So then you also get, straight off the bat at 3rd level, you get extra spells available to you as a ranger. So at 3rd level you get Charm Person. At 5th level you get Misty Step. You do get other levels at a higher one, but up to level 8 as we normally do, those are the 2 that you would get, and I do love the idea of having Misty Step.
Misty Step's great.
It's always an amazing spell, especially with this kind of character as well. If I am in my favourite terrain, wonderfully stealth and camouflaged up, and then there's somebody looking around that I'm stalking, and they just kind of glimpse past me and then double take back, and then all that's left is a wisp of mist, and they're just like, oh, maybe it was just the mist. Never mind, I'll move on. Like, no, I was there and I'm gone. No, I just love that. I was just thematically fun to play around with.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and you also get otherworldly glamour, which is really cool because whenever I make a charisma check, you get the bonus of equal to your wisdom modifier.
Oh, cool.
So you get your wisdom modifier on top of any charisma checks. So in addition, you gain proficiency in something else as well. So I chose performance, which is pretty cool for a shape changer. Definitely.
Yeah, could pretend to be a bard.
Yeah. Could easily multi-class into a bard at this point as well.
Yeah.
And so then a level 4 ability score improvement. So I chose, get this, for the first time ever, a full feat. I know, it's like we've always chosen half feats, like every single time. So I've chosen lucky. I mean, it's a great, it's a great feat for no matter what class you're taking.
Yeah.
It's a solid choice to be able to take. For those who aren't familiar with it, you get 3 luck points, and if you've made an attack roll, ability check, or a saving throw, you can choose to ignore that and roll an additional d20 and use that one instead. So it effectively gives you advantage, but you have to decide to use it before you know the outcome. If you rolled something and then they go, nope, that didn't hit, and then you go, oh, I'll use my luck, it's too late. Especially as a DM, I would stamp down on that. So yeah, you can also use luck point when it's rolled against you and such, but I mean, it's just, it doesn't matter. You regain it after a long rest, but 3 luck points a day is loads.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a great amount. At level 7, you get Beguiling Twist, and I really do like this one. I get advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. But also, whenever I or another creature within 120 feet succeeds a saving throw on being charmed or frightened, you can use your reaction to force a different creature within 120 feet to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC to be charmed or frightened.
That's cool.
It is pretty awesome.
You can make whatever was trying to charm you or frighten you
charmed or frightened.
Charmed or frightened. Yeah.
It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be the same. So if somebody tries to frighten you and you shrug it off, you go, "You're charmed."
Yeah.
Give them a wink and a smile, and let's skip off into the sunset. No. So yeah, I mean, it's such a great ability.
Yeah, it's a really cool ability.
Yeah, because it's not just.
I've not seen it before.
Yeah, it's not just yourself.
Really handy.
But anybody. But it's also it's not just any friendly one either. So if one of your other characters have then attempted to charm somebody and it failed, you can go, never mind, charm the person next to him instead.
Yeah.
So like, okay.
Yeah, that's handy. That's
it's really useful. And then at level 8 ability score improvement, I just chose ability score improvement of wisdom and charisma.
Charisma.
Charisma, yeah, wisdom, a natural choice, but then I also chose charisma for the kind of the shape-changing abilities, to add to those charisma checks, which I'm also getting a wisdom bonus on top of. And spells-wise, again, very much like you, chose Pass Without a Trace, Cure Wounds, but then I did toy with the idea of putting Silence on there as well, but I leant away from it. As soon as you said Silence, I was like, yeah, it's a great choice. But because my character's not lent into combat very much, I chose Zephyr Strike, which, it's a bonus action to add an extra D8 to an attack roll, which is pretty awesome. Fog Cloud, just to be able to give a nice blanket fog cloud to be able to escape a situation, and absorb elements as well, so you can soak up some of that damage and then deal it back out if needs be. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, nice.
Which then leads us. I thought because it's not a very heavily combat orientated build. This one, it's very much lent into the roleplay aspects, which is generally all my builds anyway. So ability scores: strength, dump stat 8, straight in there. But unlike probably every ranger ever, I put 10 in dex.
Wow.
I know, right?
Oh.
It's a bold choice, but I was like, well, it doesn't have to have a ranged attack. You can quite easily use, because a lot of those attacks, especially those druid cantrips, are your shillelagh would become a melee, which I know your strength is 8, but never mind. But then it's a spell attack, so it's using your wisdom, not dex or strength. So yeah, it didn't really need it as such.
Yeah, it could work.
So then con was my 12. Intelligence was my 13, then charisma 14, and then wisdom 15. So wisdom and charisma were my 2 top stats. Naturally, wisdom straight up there before the spellcasting.
Yeah.
And with all those kind of additional bonuses, you get in a +3 modifier to charisma and a +4 to wisdom. So then with those Fay Wanderer abilities, it gives you a nice +7 to any of your charisma checks, which is that's even without any proficiencies on top of that as well. So that it becomes pretty darn fun to be able to play with.
Yeah. And then if you manage to get somewhere down the line, get an expertise in one of them as well.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Somewhere out of a feat or a multi-class, whichever. That then just makes it devastating. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then for background, it was an easy choice. I just picked Far Traveller. I know it's one I've chosen before, but it just fit thematically.
For the character,
Absolutely. But you get automatic proficiency in insight, and I also picked intimidation to be proficient in as well, which you also get a musical instrument or gaming tool, but choose whatever you like out of that. You're a shapeshifter. I might choose something ridiculous like bagpipes or
you almost said bagpipes as you said it then.
Yeah, bagpipes. It just seems like a shapeshifter thing. I don't know why. It's like, I think in musical instrument for a shapeshifter, bagpipe. I don't know why. Just seems more fluid. I don't know why. But then, other than that, that brings to the end of that build. So, what did you think?
I really like it. It's cool. It's different.
I know, really right?
Yeah. Very RP heavy, but then you've got like cantrip options for your.
This is it. It does have combat options especially for spells and cantrips. And there's some abilities in there as well, but certainly it's as with most of my builds, very RP heavy. But
and I feel like it's really fun one. You'd have a real good fun time with the RP elements of it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It'd be very strong in like sort of the having to convince and talking.
And the shape shifting as well, because
those sort of skill checks.
You could constantly be just like you can shapeshift to appear as somebody else you've seen.
Yeah.
So as soon as you've seen somebody, just freak them out, turn into them right in front of them, and it's like, oh dear God.
Yeah. As soon as you've seen the guard captain, you could turn into.
I'm the guard captain.
Start ordering people around.
Exactly. It'd be absolutely some wonderful things you can get into.
Totally. I could easily see sort of like picking up a bard class down the line in there as well, just a few levels.
Absolutely. And that kind of brings us to a bit of a close with this class, the Ranger class. So I hope everybody else enjoyed this as much as we have. Again, another class. As soon as we've made the character, we're both like, oh, we really want to play that now. But we do that with all the characters we do. So go check those out as well. And stay tuned and give us a like and subscribe to stay in touch, because next time round we're going to be doing sorcerers. So keep a good ear to the ground, as the Harengen does, to keep in touch about that and find out how we get on.
Yeah.
Till then, take care. Bosh.